Bring you stories you're not going to see anywhere else. That's easy because there are a lot of stories you're not going to see anywhere else. Everything's been blacked out and censored. Here's a big one. In just the past 2 weeks, massive protests against vax mandates have broken out all over the world in a lot of different places. Huge demonstrations. Here's a sampling. As big as any BLM protest, but no coverage whatsoever. Why is that? Eva Vlaardingerbroek is a Dutch legal philosopher. She joins us tonight from overseas. Eva, thanks so much for coming on. So you're getting the sense in the United States that everyone's in favor of vax mandates, and then you see coverage like that and you realize there's a global movement against it. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. There is a massive movement going on in Europe right now of tons of people, hundreds of thousands, millions of people actually, who are very much aware of what's at stake here. These people are aware of the fact that our constitutional rights are being set aside without an end date, and that we're heading towards a new system, a tyrannical regime of mass surveillance and control. And this is not just a hunch. This is all part of a bigger plan. This is something people who are watching right now can actually go and look up. What's very important for the American audience to know is that we've had this digital COVID pass in place in Europe, which is basically like a QR code on your phone that grants you access to everyday life, like to bars, restaurants, etc. It's completely bind to your vax status. And this is all part of a European project issued by the European Commission that is basically surrounded around this idea of a European digital identity. So this will not stay just linked to your vaccination status. This will encompass taxes. This will encompass your medical records apart from your vaccination status, your bank information. So basically, we already have a system in place right now that is very close, or at least reminds us of the beginning phases of a social credit system. We are literally turning into China.
If this were linked to digital currency, and presumably paper currencies on the way out, then the average person would be utterly controlled by the government. And the government could just turn off your ability to buy anything, your ability to go anywhere. I mean, at that point, you really are a slave to a supposedly democratic government, are you not?
That's exactly right. That's exactly what they're planning to do. And this agenda is supposed to be laid out by 2030. So that's what we're heading towards. So you see all these people going out in the streets. It's because they know that this is what's going on. And I think that it's all going to be dependent on whether they'll be able to roll this agenda out, whether Austria is going to enforce compulsory mandatory vaccinations on a nationwide level. So the parliament in Austria, another country in Europe, is debating about this, or voting on this, I should say, on Thursday, which will mean that in Austria from February onwards, vaccination for COVID will be mandatory for every citizen over the age of 18. If you don't get vaccinated, you will be having to pay massive fines, up to 15,000 euros a year, which, you know, basically your existence as an unvaccinated person will become illegal. So everybody will have this digital COVID pass. And I got to say, Tucker, it would not be the first time in European history that tyranny is born in Austria. So what will happen on Thursday in Austria is going to be a landmark case that will determine basically whether Europe is going to be part of the free West for much longer. And, well, it looks like this law will pass. So it looks like we're basically headed towards an end station that literally is tyranny. And it's absolutely crucial that we fight this now, that we put pressure on our governments, and that we walk together for this fight of our freedom, of our future. Because I have to say, you in America, you might be next.
I don't think there's any question. And unfortunately, our main weakness is our ignorance of the rest of the world. And I speak for myself as well. Most Americans have no idea what's happening in the rest of the world, and we should know because it's our future. And I appreciate you bringing that to us tonight. Iver Vardingerbroek, thank you so much.
And remember, Q always said the revolution would not be televised, and it's because the mainstream media is owned and controlled by